All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Yoga for Love's online healing arts community. And I'm Jamie Ray, and we are doing Explore the Body. And today we were working on quads. This is a love-hate class for me. It is one that I need all the time, but don't necessarily like it. But I do after. So the message came through very clearly to me last night. I was feeling a bit of anger and frustration yesterday. Not overly, but just enough. And I was like, what is it this week that I need to focus on? And it was like quads, because quads are associated to anger. It is where we hold all of that. So, forewarning, I may cuss because I have a tendency to get quite fiery when I do this class, when I do this session. So I'm just giving a heads up, little notification. If I don't like it, move along, but it's who I am. It is my realness. So in releasing my anger, sometimes comes out. So yay! Feel free to release your own anger, because that's what it's all about, right? All right, so we're gonna need a big ball and a noodle ball today. Again, there is a description in the Facebook event talking about these. This is 6 tennis balls in a tube sock, and this is a rubber dog ball. It's a 3.5-inch diameter. If you don't have any of this on hand, find something that is compatible, a softball, a kid's toy, another dog toy, anything that works. You can use a pool noodle instead, a foam roller potentially if it's not like the big giant ones. Also, you can roll up a towel really tightly or a thin blanket and make do with that. So let's begin. We're first going to do some releasing a little bit in the glutes before we switch over to the front side. Yep. All right. We're going to come to your mat and get your ball. We're going to spend a whole lot of time on the glutes today. Do this every session pretty much, but we are going to touch upon it because we've got to release a little bit from the back to assist releasing in the front. So you're taking your big ball, placing it right into that glute, right in between the sacrum and the trochanter, just below the hip bone. Placing the ankle onto the opposite knee. So it is the leg that we are working on, just crossed over. And you're just going to breathe. We're going to roll through this one. We're going to take this one a little bit faster because this is not our concentration zone today. But you're just going to roll around a bit. I like to follow along that sacrum, making my way down to that piriformis, the sits bones. And we're just kind of rolling through there and releasing. And if you've been joining my classes, you know we've been doing this every week. So hopefully at this point you should have extreme amounts. So it shouldn't be too intense for you just yet. But if you're just joining and we've not done this before, join again for another day when we'll be working more deeply in this region. So we're just going to make our way down to that sits bone and then back up and around that trochanter again. Just just connecting to it a little bit. Pause anywhere you need to. Nice, full, deep breaths, really bringing that oxygen into any of those knots of tension, those holding places. I'm just doing the quick tour. I'm going to touch on the side seam a bit. Just a little opening, a little releasing of some control. A little control and hold back that anger, right? We need to let it out. So we're going to let go of some control first so we can. All right. Got the right side bit. Get this left side. Right there. Just below that hip side, or hip pelvis. And I can't talk today. You know where we're going. Get in there. Get in there. Working on that edge of the sacrum. Pausing to breathe. Peace. All the way down to that piriformis, around that sits bone there. Again, we're never on the bone. We're just on the muscle tissue. We're right up against that bone where the muscles attach. So we're just going along that edge. Oh, there's a spot. Coming back up on the edge of that trochanter. Get into that side seam a bit. All right. Just waking it up. Move along here. Okay, I'm gonna come off of that. I'm just gonna set that aside for a minute. While we're here on this back side of the body, I'm gonna do just a little bit of heart opening as well, because we're gonna love the anger, right? Release the control. Be open to love it. So we're just gonna take your needle ball. We're placing it just below, like right in, like bra strap region, okay? Just below that. We're not in these lower ribs today. We're just gonna come up the lower portion of the heart space, about mid-back. We're gonna lie down. You've got your little gap in between the center two balls, so you're not right on the spine. And we're coming in. Just gonna work this upper region a bit. Wake it up. So you're lying over the balls. We're keeping this tail nice and long. And we're dropping these shoulders back. Get the neck nice and long so we're not like this. Right? One. Just surrender for a moment. Allowing the space to become accepting of the balls, the muscles to stop freaking out for a moment. All right, start to move. Just gently rocking side to side. And pull the knees up and in towards the chest. And start rolling. Pausing any place that you feel extra tension. Really breathing into it. I like to bring the arms up in the heart space or move the arms around a bit so that we're really opening that space up. And we're just gently inching our way up. So the more you take the butt down along the mat, the higher up you go into the heart space. And just making our way up through this, up towards the shoulders. Just inching up. I like to press into my heels, lift my butt off the ground, and pull my head or chin in towards the chest, opening up that back space and just rocking back and forth, rolling up and down the spine through that region. Getting into those rhomboids right along the edge of the scapulas. Now, just as I'm about to go over the top of those scapulas, for my body, what works best is to take the balls and put them in a bit of a V and place that V right through the inside of the scapulas, right? So this allows me to press into my heels, lift the buttocks, and allow gravity to press me into the balls. So the end balls are kind of right there at the tops of the shoulders, right on those traps, the vagal scapula attachments. And it allows me to pull these elbows in, opening the back space a bit wider, and then the balls are pressing right into those rhomboids on each side of the scapula. Now here you can take your weight to one side or the other. So I'm dropping in right here, taking my weight over to the left. The balls are pressing into that edge of that left scapula, those left rhomboids, and then the same on the right. Just waking up the space. Now I'm starting to come up as I press deeper into my heels, lifting up a little bit further and come more into the tops of the shoulders. I take my arms up and overhead, just resting them on the earth. And again, I can go from one side to the other. This really gets into that top of the trap from the back side there. All right, now we're kind of evening our noodle ball out a bit, and we're rolling up through the top portion of the back space, lower portion of the neck, just to relieve those shoulders, just a little bit. And then to take a little final tour. You see kitty paws underneath the door. All right. A little more freedom up top. Now we're going to get our big ball again, and we're going to go to our bellies. What we're going to do, we're going to work along this inner seam here, right through the groin, right on the inside. So got your hip bone here, a little knobby part that sticks out. We're going just inside of that. We're going to work right through this inguinal crease, right through here. Then when we get down in here, we're going to start making our way. We'll move along tops of this quad. All right, so we're placing that in there. Take a moment to just let it sink in. I like to be up on my elbows here. It elongates the psoas, the iliopsoas. So as I'm pressing, it kind of makes it more available to access. You can drop your weight slightly into that hip a bit to control the pressure. You can also rock away from it to lessen that pressure. All right, and as it starts to drop in, we need to the same leg, the same side that we're working on. So I'm on the right side, I'm pulling this right foot up towards my heel towards my buttocks. This is elongating that quad, right? The quad, the iliopsoas has that whole connection right through there, as well as being up on the elbow. So we've got this line that's being elongated. And we're making our way down through that inguinal crease. And again, I like to just rock a bit. That kind of gives the massaging motion, you know, allows the ball to get in there, and it's just getting into those muscles. I'm utilizing my hand here because if I keep going, I'm just gonna run into the curtains. So whatever works for you within your space, if you can keep just moving, inching your body up, that tends to be the easiest, but you can adjust it with your hand. As you get a little bit lower, you may want to take your knees slightly out away from the medial line of the body so that you're really opening up this space here. You will find some tenderness and some surprises. This is also where fear is held. So what makes you angry, right? Not being able to control something. Not being able to fully open our hearts to something. Heart space. Fear of something can make us angry. Holding on to it. On the jaw. And the quads are also our response to fear. So we hold that anger in there, right through that quad, but it's also, you know, that response to fear, that fight, flight, freeze, fidget, and faint. So if you wanted to take off running, right, you would need that quad to work as well as the psoas and the psoas. Sure. All right, we're starting to get towards the top of this leg, top of the crease. We're not going to go all the way down to the inner thigh. Sometimes we do, but today we're not. As you get down to the top of the leg, you're going to start to come out onto the quad, into those hip flexors. So right along this seam here, to come in like the top edge of the trochanter, the top portion of the quad, those hip flexors in there. So you may have to lift yourself a bit, so you're kind of pressing your knees in and pressing into your elbows. It's also a little bit good for the core, right? So you can rest the opposite hip down onto the earth, and you're controlling the pressure, right? So I'm like controlling that by pressing into my left knee a bit and lifting myself up or lowering myself down. It controls that pressure that is going into the ball. So we're just rocking, rolling on that ball. You can take, this right leg, so I can rock kind of side to side on my toes. I can take my foot in and out like this. So they're, it's really finding what works for your body. Everybody is different. So it's what works for you. These are just some examples of how you can approach it, ways to get in there. And we're just working along that quad. And as you start to get deeper into the belly of it, you will find knots of tension. You can pull that heel towards the buttocks. I'm just going to pause here. I could just hang out here. It's so interesting. You may not feel anger today, but if you're going in here, you're going to go, what? Where did that come from? It makes me want to growl like a vicious dog. Just kind of going. You're working from just medial of the leg, not all the way to the inner thigh, just to that edge, and then out towards the IT band. So you're trying to cover this whole front space of the leg through this quad, or the quads. Now you may find that it's lumpy or ropey, or it's so tight that you have a hard time staying in one spot. Again, you can shift. You'll notice that the muscles tend to shift around based upon where your heel, your leg is, whether you're bending or not bending, or how much it's bent. So you can play with that a bit to find the positions that allow you to get into those knots a little bit without rolling off. These can be a bit challenging. It's sometimes a bit like a balancing act. Keep that. Keep that right on top. Woo! You're like mine. You'll find like it's ropey picture. It's okay. That's why we're doing this. But if you can get right on that, right before it wants to roll over and plunk, you can get right to that edge and then just pause. Oh. And we're just going right down towards the top of the knee. Oh. I'm stabilizing the ball just a bit right here, just because I have so much tension right there. Oh. All right, we're about to switch over to the other side. Just give the extra roll through that you need to do the other place you need to pause on. I mean, it's been all day here. Okay. Then we're gonna go to the other side. You can take a moment, just love the leg. You know, like to kind of grip the muscle a bit, shake it about. It's like hereditary or something, I think. This is generational for me. All right, left side. Starting in this inguinal crease, just inside this hip bone, top portion, rolling through, coming down to the top portion of the leg, and right through that. Those quads. All right, here we go. Allowing it to sink in. As it does, I start to elongate this portion, lifting up on the elbows and pulling that heel towards the buttocks. Really giving this nice and long. Oh. Breath in. Just kind of rocking, rock and roll, rock and roll. You'll notice little intricate bits and pieces. Like if you just lift the rib cage slightly, you know, take it. Oh. these ribs, you feel this elongation. And it can be really slight. You'll feel more of a stretch. Making your way through this crease. Pausing any place you find extra tension. Oh. And we're starting to get down towards the top portion of our leg, the hip flexors. Lift up a bit and bring the ball just slightly lateral. Getting to the top section of this myself. Up and down, side to side. Heels up or down. I mean, just keep moving with it. Find what works. Take the leg out, bring the leg in. Just playing with it, rolling around, finding those knots, finding those tense places, those holdings, those grips that we've had. Ha, ha. Finding those golden nuggets, pausing on them, breathing, allowing them to release. Growl if you need to. Oh. Sometimes just the slightest of movement can change everything. Continuing to make our way down towards that knee. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Oh. Just be in awareness. Make sure you're not taking that tension or that pain anywhere else in the body. Just allow it to be, accept it as it is. Just be in it, feel it. Oftentimes we find it and then we're like, oh, but I don't want to feel that. So then we just like carry it over to another part of the body where we tighten up to release the stress over here, or release the pain, or escape the pain. And then simultaneously, like the right shoulder is like completely gripped, or the left butt cheek, or someplace else in the body. We try to avoid feeling the pain here. We just move it elsewhere. So really try to keep the remainder of the body that you're not utilizing non-activated. Not holding tension. All right, we're almost done with this part. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. Over it. All right, take a moment. Get rid of that ball. Let's give it some love. Give it some love. Okay. Roll forever. I think I just did. All right, come to your belly again. We're gonna just lie flat. Oh, allow the arms to just rest. All right, now we're gonna bend the knees. We're not gripping anywhere. This butt is not gripped. Nothing is gripped. You're gonna take a moment. You're gonna do one leg at a time. Can you lift the right knee off of the earth? It doesn't have to be far, but not gripping the butt. All right, so you can kind of press with the arms a bit, but we don't want to take tension, right? We don't want to, not holding, and we don't have to go far. We're just trying to not grip the butt. Lifting one leg, just slightly. Oh, oh, oh. All right, we're gonna try that with the other leg. Lift that knee. Oh. Make sure your butt's not gripping. Oh. It wants to grip, right? It wants to grip. All right. Pulling the knees or the heels towards the buttocks, reaching back. All right, we're grabbing the tops of the foot. Cannot talk tops of the feet with the hands. Blah, 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 blah. All right, bring the head forward. And right here, we're going to press our feet into our hands. Whew. And we're lifting the chest off of the earth. And drop. And repeat that. Just take a moment to rest. Again, we're pressing those feet, really pressing them into the hands. We're working towards a dancer. We may not get to dancer in this class today. That might be the extended version or the deeper dive on Thursday. One more time. Here we go. All right. Head forward, pressing the feet into the palms, lifting the chest. And release. Whoosh. Okay. Now we're going to come up. Just move about a bit. Just do what feels natural to your body, what your body needs. Just checking in. A little bit of movement. Just waking everything up. Some hip circles. All right. So from all fours, we're going to step our feet back. We're going to come into plank. Inhale the right knee up and in towards the chest. Exhale, step it through, coming into a lunge. You want to make sure that this ankle is in front of the knee slightly, or at least, like, you just don't want it behind the knee, right? It can be directly under or slightly forward. All right, so we're leveling the pelvis here. So we're checking to make sure we're not, torqued or reaching, right? We're going to try to, as best as we can with our mind and alignment, we're going to check in and try to get it as level as possible. And then we're dropping the pelvis down towards the earth. Really keep those toes on that back leg pressed into the earth. We're bringing the pubic bone down. Ha. You should feel a stretch through that back quad. Ha. Trying to keep this upper body, the spine nice and long, not rounding. Like, you don't want to be rounded. Ha. 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 Try to keep that back leg straight. Ha. So I'm pressing through that heel. Ha. Ha. Dropping down. Ha. And as that begins to end, we're going to drop this knee. All right, so we get a little bit of relief there, but we're going to drop another level, taking that pubic bone more towards the earth. Few breaths. All right, now we're going to walk our front foot over. We're going to come into pigeon. All right, so we're going to, again, we're leveling that pelvis, trying to get it nice and even. I'm kind of pressing into the toes and walking my thigh slightly back and placing it onto the earth. Now I'm lifting my upper body. I'm still pressing my pelvis, that pubic bone, down into the earth here. Especially that the left side here. So I'm really trying to take like those hip flexors. I don't know what is wrong with this right here today. Those hip flexors, I'm taking those down towards the earth. All right, so now we're gonna bend this back knee. You may already feel a stretch. Supporting myself with my left hand and reaching back with my right to grab the foot. And I'm pulling that heel towards the buttocks. Keeping that upper body straight, keeping that pubic bone and those hip flexors pressing down towards the earth. And now this heel is slightly coming towards the right buttocks, right? So we're getting one side of the top of that leg. You may feel even a release up through that psoas, iliopsoas, all the way up like towards the navel, through those abdominals. All right, so we're gonna release the hand, keeping the foot up. We're switching hands here. Right hand down, and we're taking the left one. Keep those hip flexors pressing towards the earth. Now we're taking the left hand, grabbing the foot, and bringing the foot slightly over to the left. You may want to grab on the inside of the foot, so you can press slightly out that way. And then we're pulling that heel in towards the buttocks. Notice that this hits the other side of that quad. Those hip flexors, that pelvis pushing down towards the earth. Ooh, I got it. This is all elongated. And when that in, we're just going to release and come down. Dropping the leg. Both hands planted, we're going to come back up and step back into plank. You may want to work it out a bit. And we're going to inhale the left knee up and in towards the chest and step it through into a lunge. Again, we're adjusting that pelvis, finding what we can determine as close as we can to a level pelvis. We're trying to keep this knee back slightly behind the ankle, but also in alignment so we're not dropping out, right? So I tend to bring it slightly in underneath the belly. Now pressing through those toes and taking that heel back, keeping that leg nice and straight in the back. We're dropping the pubic bone down to the earth. Elongate the spine. Lift the head. Taking that pubic straight down. Rocking that pelvis. Straighten that knee if we can. Straighten that knee. Press with the heel. Just a little bit longer. When you're ready, drop down to the knee. All right, so we can let that lower portion relax a bit. All right, now we're taking the pubic bone down towards the earth, another layer. Lift that chest. Just trying to take this whole front region, and so we're trying to press it down. Don't go past your edge though. Don't want to pull anything. Like we're pressing, but we're also surrendering, if that makes sense. All right, walking this left foot over to the right, coming down into pigeon. I like to come up on my toes just a bit, level the pelvis. Find this leveling. Now walk that foot back just slightly. And I'm pressing that thigh. This part, press it into the earth. Okay, out. All right. Now we're bending this back leg. Keep that pubic bone, those hip flexors. Just pushing it down towards the earth. Planting our right hand first this time. Reaching back with our left, grabbing the foot, pulling the heel towards the buttocks, keeping this upper body elongated. Try to Can you hear me? Today is an off day. It's okay. We're not going to get mad at it. We're going to release the anger. Hopefully you understood what was happening right there. Hopefully it's still recording. Or going while I'm here, take a sip of coffee and move on. All right, if you can, from here, you're gonna find a piece of wall, you're gonna find a chair, you're gonna find something that you can put the leg up the wall, all right? So this is what we're doing. So you're gonna take, I'll just start with the left, so you can see, you're taking your knee and putting it into the corner of the wall. If you need to, you can grab a blanket or a towel or something if you need a little cushion on the knee here or under the knee or between the wall and the knee. Protect yourself. All right, so we've got the leg up the wall, kind of balancing that pelvis here, and now we're coming back kind of like we're in our lunge, right? We want the ankle slightly in front of the knee. All right. Now I position so that my knee isn't swaying out. And now I'm dropping the pelvis down towards the earth. Ha. Ha. Now, I'm coming up, resting my elbows on my knee. Ha. Again, we're just lowering this down here, pressing. If you need to, you can walk this foot slightly out just to make sure that it stays in front of the knee as you drop. Oh. 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 All right, now we're going to continue, but now we're taking the pelvis back. Ooh, we're pressing forward. Right, so here, scoot your foot back. Now we're elongating this here. Ooh. So taking the butt towards that heel. We're trying to get this nice and long. Really elongating. A duplicate. And we're trying to surrender. And when you're ready, you can come down and just drop that knee. And then step the knee away from the wall. Woo! Okay, other leg. We're taking the right knee in towards the wall, foot up. Right, hands planted. We're stepping the left foot through. Get it nice in position. We're trying to level that pelvis a bit. Get that ankle out in front of the knee. And we're dropping the pubic bone down towards the earth. Trying to keep that pelvis level. I know this arm looks cheap. You don't want to go out like that and get out of the pain. Nope, not gonna let it. Not gonna let it. I don't want this anger in my body, so I'm doing it. You take your foot slightly out. You can still keep the ankle in front of the knee. Still keep the knee from swaying out and prevent the pelvis from wanting to shift. All right, now we're going to shift back. Cool. Walking this foot back a bit. Bringing the elbows to the knee. We're lifting the spine. I'm rotating my pelvis slightly backwards, right? And pull the knee forward just slightly away from the wall. So I'm trying to tilt this back. Because it wants to flip like this, right? That escapes. It really escapes activating it. Tilt the pelvis back. Really gets in there. Trying to keep that pelvis nice and even, and we're just trying to surrender here. We're just trying to allow it to dissipate. right. Oh, when you're ready, I'm just gonna drop out. Slide that knee. Oh. Check it out. Okay. One more thing before we go into Shavasana. Again, deeper dive on Thursday. We'll actually go into dancer, but this is all preparatory, right? So we're going to come to the wall again. We're going to go facing the wall this time. So we're bringing our knees in towards the wall. We're like, my wall. Now take the toes under. All right, and we're trying to keep the pelvis is up against the wall. We're trying to keep the quads, the pelvis, this all pressing this way. Heels are up. We're coming into camel. All right, so keeping that head forward. We're taking our heads, and we're going to drop back. We're trying to keep this planted on the wall. Pull, pull. All right, so we're pressing those quads, pressing the pelvis into the wall as we're dropping back, catching ourselves, coming into camel. Feel those quads all activated. Holding until it ends for you, and I'm just coming up. One more time, we're going to try that away from the wall. We're trying to maintain that same press. If you feel like the wall really helped you, feel free to repeat on the wall. Coming up, toes are planted, taking the pelvis forward, taking the quads forward, dropping the shoulders back behind the body, reaching towards the heels. Really press those quads forward. We're going to just come into child's for a moment. We're going to have the opposite. Oh. And opening all this up. Now let's give it a moment to just drop in. All right, here. Feel free to find your position wherever you would like. Legs up the wall is a really good option. Taking just in case, because we were working so much with the pelvis, just in case you dipped out of integrity for a moment, it happens. The legs up the wall helps reset the sacrum and the pelvis. Helps rebalance all of this. This would be my recommendation for Shavasana. However, do what feels good to you. And while you sink in, noticing that new energy, new energy moving through the legs, any fire that might be coming out, anything that you're like, oh, I wasn't mad about that, but now let's come back up. Just allow it to process. It needs to be released, right? That's why we're doing it. Again, this is why it's a love-hate thing for me. But it does feel so much better. Like, my body is saying thank you. And I'm sure yours is as well. So we're just going to take a moment, sinking into the earth, feeling the support, feeling that you are totally and completely supported. You can trust. There's no need for the anger, the fear, the control, fully open up to trust, right? So sinking in the earth, knowing you are fully supported. Universe got your back, baby. Universe got your back. Over and over and over again. Nice deep breaths in. And exhale. All right. You're welcome to stay as long as you'd like. There's another class about to begin. If you'd like to journey forward. Thank you for joining me today, and much love. Hope the rest of your day is absolutely wonderful, and you have newfound freedom, ability to frolic Enjoy. Much love. Namaste.